Have you seen the size of that thing? A mushroom that's bigger than your head? Is this for real? Well, you're in for a treat today. We're diving into the incredible world of the giant puffball mushroom. Hey there, shroomers. These enormous fungi are not just fascinating to look at, but they're also packed with surprises. In this video, we'll explore everything you need to know about the giant puffball mushrooms, from their unique characteristics to how to identify, harvest, and even cook with them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for future videos. You might be wondering what makes these giant puffball mushrooms so special. Besides their impressive size, these fungi have some really cool characteristics that set them apart from other mushrooms. This video will uncover some amazing facts and even a few unexpected uses for these big guys. So let's start with the basics. What exactly are giant puffball mushrooms? Giant puffball mushrooms, scientifically known as Calvatia gigantea, are these incredible large round fungi that almost look like they're from another planet. They usually have a smooth white surface and can be as small as a softball or as big as, well, a beach ball. Yep, you've heard that right. These giants can grow up to 24 inches in diameter. That's massive. The giant puffball mushrooms typically grow in meadows, fields, and deciduous forest. They especially love grassy areas, so you might come across one while hiking or even in the park. The best time to find them is during late summer and fall, when they tend to pop up after some rainfall. I know. It's hard to believe that these huge mushrooms are just hanging out in the wild, waiting for you to find them. But it's true. So next time you're out in the nature, keep an eye out for these impressive fungi. They're pretty hard to miss, and who knows, you might just come across the largest puffball you have ever seen. Now that we know what giant puffball mushrooms are and where to find them, it's crucial to learn how to properly identify them. After all, we wouldn't want to accidentally pick a poisonous lookalike, right? First, they're smooth, round, and white. Their surface might have some irregularities or bumps, but overall, it's going to be pretty even. And remember, these guys can be huge, so size is definitely a clue. Now, I can't stress this enough. It's absolutely essential to make sure you have correctly identified the mushroom before you do anything else. There are some poisonous lookalikes out there, like the immature Amanita mushrooms, which can be extremely dangerous if consumed. So, always be cautious and double check your findings. Here's a pro tip for you: the slice test. When you cut a giant puffball mushroom in half, it should be solid white all the way through, with a marshmallow-like texture. There shouldn't be any gills or signs of developing cap. If you see those, you might be dealing with a toxic lookalike, so it's best to leave it alone. Identifying giant puffball mushrooms might seem a bit intimidating at first, but with these tips and a little practice, you'll be a pro in no time. Just remember, when in doubt, don't risk it. Your safety should always be a top priority. So, you found a giant puffball mushroom and confirmed its identity. Congrats! But now, it's time to learn how to harvest it properly and ethically. We want to make sure we're doing our part to preserve the ecosystem and ensure that these amazing fungi can continue to thrive in the wild. First things first, when's the right time to harvest a giant puffball? The ideal stage is when it's firm and has a pure white interior. If it starts to turn yellowish or feels too soft, it's past its prime and it's not suitable for consumption. So timing is key to getting that perfect flavor and texture. As for tools, you don't need anything fancy. A sharp knife or even a pair of scissors will do the trick. Just carefully cut the puffball off at its base, making sure not to damage the surrounding environment. It's important to be respectful and mindful of the environment when harvesting these mushrooms. Here are a few tips to keep in mind. Don't take more than you need. Leave some behind for nature and other foragers. Be careful not to disturb the habitat or other plants while harvesting. Follow local regulations and guidelines, as some areas might have restrictions on foraging. Ethical foraging is all about being a responsible steward of the environment. By following these simple tips, we can enjoy nature's bounty while ensuring that future generations can also experience the joy of discovering giant puffball mushrooms. Happy harvesting, and remember, always treat Mother Nature the respect she deserves. Alright, now we're getting to the really fun part. Preparing and cooking the giant puffball mushrooms. Trust me, these bad boys can absolutely be delicious when cooked just right. First, you'll want to clean your puffball. Gently brush off any dirt or debris with a soft brush or damp cloth. Avoid rinsing it underwater as it can become really soggy and lose its flavor. Remove the outer skin. It should peel off quite easily. Then slice the mushroom into thick steaks or cut it into cubes, depending on your recipe. Just remember, the texture is delicate, so handle it with care. When it comes to cooking with giant puffball mushrooms, the possibilities are just endless. They have a mild, earthy flavor and a texture similar to tofu, making them extremely versatile. Here are a couple simple and mouth-watering recipes you can try. Puffball pizza. Use slices of puffball mushrooms as a pizza crust. Add your favorite sauce, cheese, and toppings. Then bake until golden bubbly. Crispy puffball nuggets. Cut the mushroom into bite-sized pieces, dip them into a batter, and fry them until golden and crispy. Serve it up with your favorite dipping sauce. Doesn't that sound amazing? And those are just a couple of ideas. You can also saute, grill, or bake your giant puffball mushrooms. The sky's the limit. So, go ahead and get creative in the kitchen with your freshly harvested puffball mushroom. Not only will you impress your friends and family with your foraging skills, but you'll also treat them to some truly unique and scrumptious dishes. Bon appetit! We've talked about identifying, harvesting, and cooking the giant puffball mushrooms. But don't you know that these massive fungi also pack a punch when it comes to health benefits and nutritional value? That's right. These impressive mushrooms are more than just a culinary delight. They're also good for you. Giant puffball mushrooms contain a variety of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, such as vitamin D, potassium, and selenium. These nutrients play an essential role in maintaining your overall health and well-being. For instance, did you know that puffballs can help support your immune system? That's because they're a great source of beta-glucans, which are natural compounds known for their immune-boosting properties. It's important to note that while these health benefits are pretty awesome, they shouldn't replace a balanced diet or medical advice from a professional. Always consult with your doctor before making any significant changes to your diet or health regimen. But remember, moderation is key, and it's essential to enjoy these mushrooms as part of a balanced and varied diet. Happy foraging and healthy eating! We've covered a lot about giant puffball mushrooms so far, but hold on to your hats, because we've got some unusual and surprising uses for these fascinating fungi that you probably haven't heard of. Besides being an incredible culinary ingredient, giant puffball mushrooms have had some pretty unique uses throughout history. Let's explore a few of them. Number 1. Natural dye. Did you know that when giant puffballs start to turn yellow and brown, they can be used as a natural dye? Just soak the mushroom in the water and you got yourself a unique, earthy hue for your next DIY project. Number 2. Wound dressing. In some traditional cultures, the spores of the dried puffball mushrooms were used as a wound dressing. The fine powder was believed to help stop bleeding and promote healing. Number 3. Garden fertilizer. If you've got a puffball that's past its prime, don't toss it. Instead, break it up and use it as a natural fertilizer in your garden. The nutrients in the mushroom will help nourish your plants and improve soil health. Pretty amazing, right? It just goes to show that giant puffball mushrooms are fascinating, delicious, and incredibly versatile. And here's a fun fact for you. In some cultures, the appearance of a giant puffball mushrooms was considered and a good omen, signifying prosperity and abundance. So consider yourself lucky the next time you come across one of these massive fungi.